Welcome to the Silhouettes of Success podcast with your host, successful entrepreneur, broker, and business mentor, Amber Weitzer. Because success comes in all shapes, sizes, and styles, the Silhouettes of Success podcast is shining the light on industrious women with a collection of curated conversations of intentional inspiration designed to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, feed your soul, and gift you with actionable insights directly from inspirational, everyday women who've shown tenacity, grit, and grace, having taken on the challenges in their lives and business and won. Remarkable, down-to-earth, and relatable, Amber and her guests will share with you uplifting and extraordinary real-life success stories, motivational ideas that just might help spark something within you. With the deepest desire to serve you, help you grow so you can begin to shine the light that will illuminate your very own silhouette of success. So, let's get to it.
Hello, and welcome to the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success. Today's silhouette is a vivacious, bright, and shining light, an educational advocate for all. She has over 20 years experience in leading secondary education, including 6 years as a successful head teacher in London Secondary School. Diana works as cutting-edge leadership developer. She is known as a resilient school leader, skilled in urban leadership and under challenging circumstances. She's founded the Academy of Women's Leadership, specializing in supporting women to grow the leadership cultures of their organizations and to flourish as leaders, established in confidence. In addition, she's also recently published a book titled Courageous Leadership. So please help me welcome Diana. Hello.
Hello. It is good to be with you. Hello, everybody. I'm really glad to be on this podcast.
Oh, goodness. So honored to have you. Diana, it's such a pleasure that you are here with us to share your silhouette of success story. So thank you once again for taking time.
Most welcome. I'm really excited.
Well, excellent. So, Diana, to help illustrate the shaping of your silhouette of success, talk a little bit about your background, if you don't mind sharing.
Oh, my goodness. So I don't know where your listeners are going to be listening from, but if you know UK, England, you know London, I grew up in a tough part of town in South London. I grew up on a council estate. I think that's equivalent to the projects in the USA, and it was a loving upbringing, but a tough upbringing because we had what I call a poverty of circumstance, but not a poverty of aspiration. So mum, dad, brother, sister, little sister, I shared a bedroom with my brother until I was 19 years old in a council flat. And finally, we were able to get me to go off to university where I studied my first love, which is science. And I thought that I was going to be a doctor. And that didn't quite happen because I flopped my A-level exams. So I had to rethink that. And literally during the final year of my university degree, I was reading a science journal, and in the back of that journal was a course advertised for teacher training. I applied, and that was when my life just took a different gear. Did teacher training, science teacher, loved it. Teaching in difficult schools, challenging urban schools, absolutely loved the power of being able to change the narrative of young people's lives through education. Moving up the ranks, got into leadership, and I was appointed a vice principal or a deputy head when I was quite young. I was 28, of a large secondary school in London. And at that time, the school had the accolade of being the second worst school in the country. So we were not doing well. This was in 2001. Things had to change, and I became their deputy head teacher. There was a new head teacher, and we were slowly trying to turn this Titanic around, which we did. It was a tough decade of my life, but I learned so much. And I actually eventually became the head teacher of that school in 2010. So I've spent the last 20 plus years of my life in challenging urban contexts, but changing the narrative of young people's lives and deciding that, your circumstance does not have to dictate the end part of your story. And so what I did was put my hand to the plough and really make sure that the school was equipped with leadership that was able to turn young people's lives around. And for me, it starts with leadership. If you've got great leadership in your organization, you can achieve almost anything. Without that great leadership, things are so difficult. So now, as you said, I founded the Academy of Women's Leadership. I coach senior leaders who are in challenging circumstances. I've written the book, Courageous Leadership, and I'm enjoying working at the chalk face of leadership. So that's me.
Well, you can't end it just like that. That's me. I'm still back on the first sentence just with my jaw dropped. Wow. So just trying to drink all of that in as I was visualizing along your journey in a fast forward synopsis, as you put it. But Diana, that is remarkable to say the very least. You have such enormous energy and abundance of joy in your voice. How fulfilling for you.
It's when you know you're doing and you're operating in the calling that why you are here on this planet. When you find that, the joy absolutely flows. And people say, Diana, you get so passionate, you get so eager, your hands start flying when you're doing keynote speeches. You can't help but just draw people in. It's because I know exactly why I am here. And I am running my race. And when you're running your race, the shoes fit. You understand your race. And even if hurdles come along, you understand it's part of the race. And frustration has its place, but I don't let it overwhelm me. Fear has its place, but again, I limit the influence of fear. So when you know what you are for and you are engaged in that operation of what I am for, then things just come together. I wanted to be a doctor. In fact, I've got Nigerian parents. It was mandatory. They're either a doctor, you're a lawyer, or you're an accountant. Those are 3 professions that Nigerian children are allowed to have. When I told my dad I wanted to be a doctor, he was absolutely fine with that. When I flopped my A-levels and I said, I think I want to go into journalism, I mean, he went crazy. He said, what? What? It was just, I may as well have said, I'm going to be, I don't know, a gardener or something. Not anything wrong with gardening, but, as far as he was concerned, I am straying outside of the race that has been laid before me. But, A-levels are flopped. I couldn't get into med school. What can you do? I found my calling. I then decide, if I'm going to be here, I've got to be good at what I do. Nobody wants to be led by a buffoon. There's no point, being a leader, but you're not very good at it. I wanted to be good at it, so I study it and I teach it and I involve myself in it. I wanted to say to other people, it is possible what you want, but it's only probable, likely, if you apply yourself, if you study for it, if you read about it, if you drink it in. Otherwise, what is possible and what is probable, there's a big gulf in between those. And so I've just spent the last 2 decades making this possible and probable. It's likely. In fact, it's more than likely. I expect this to work. And so it's a bit infectious, I think. My approach is unorthodox. I'm very real. I tell the truth. And if I'm not talking, either that's because I don't agree with you or because I think you're lying. And so I'm not going to get involved in that. And so people say, Diana, you're not speaking. What's wrong? But I love what I do because I've seen the effects of great leadership on the lives of young people in education, on the lives of my staff and of people that I work with. And I say this, that with a team, I don't think there's anything I can't achieve with a great team. And once your team are aligned with you, anything is possible. So turning the second worst school in the country around I mean, most people say, you know what, close the school, forget that, just leave it alone. We did it, but as a team. And we had to learn the nuances of leadership that allow those great things to happen.
Well, Diana, that is just amazing. And as you touch on that last point, I've got about 8 points that I wrote down as you were sharing, that just are key topics that I'd like to touch on. But just that last one that you just mentioned about the monumental obstacles of closing the school or pulling together and creating something and bringing it back to life and success and being proud to do that. How does one approach just such a enormous goal like that?
Goodness me. Let me first of all say it's not easy. I mean, I can say I look back now with almost rose-tinted glasses because I'm through that difficult stage now, but it's not easy and it's not for the faint-hearted. You have to be courageous. And if you're not courageous now, you have to be prepared to develop courage and to embrace it because you will be asked to have conversations, to face circumstances that are not easy. Then I think if you start with high expectations, higher than what seems even logical, because if it was logical, if it was reasonable, it would have already been done. We wouldn't be in this position if things were working according to logic. So you set expectations far higher than what seems reasonable. So in my case, I said, when I became the head teacher, we'd been doing a turnaround, and then I became the head teacher. And I said, I want every single child to be a scholar. The staff looked at me as though I'd lost my mind because we had children who could barely read, who were already 15 years old, but could barely read. We had children who had such difficult home lives and circumstances that education was the last thing on their mind. And here comes this bright, breezy head teacher talking about children being a scholar. And I said, listen, every child must find their place in academia. I will not accept that because of where they live, because of the quality of the parenting that they have, they cannot swim in the depths of academia. If they're a scholar of maths, of dance, of drama, of art, of physics, I don't care what it is, but we have to build systems that promote that kind of expectation. So I say this, you fall or you live by the quality of your systems. If your systems are flawed, no matter what you build, it will not last. It is not sustainable. It is based on charisma. That's not a system. It's based on someone's personality, a hero head teacher or a phenomenal leader, their charisma, but it's not a system. Therefore, it will fall when that person goes. So you set about creating quality systems which don't depend on personality. It doesn't depend on your feelings or your emotions about your work. The system has a strength of its own because it's well thought out, it's well developed, and it's well implemented, and everyone understands the system. So I set about with my teams, and I say again, you cannot do leadership on your own. That's not leadership, that's megalomania, that's something else. You need your teams. So you set about building phenomenal teams. If you don't know how to do that, research, read it, do a master's degree in it, understand teams. You set about building phenomenal relationships. You're not on your own. It's not about you. It's about the relationships in the organization underpinned by phenomenal systems. When you have those things in place, it doesn't become easy, but it does become doable. And that's where you've got to get to a place of it is possible to do this because we have the right systems. Without those things in place, you are literally running from one term to another, from one quarter to another, hoping for the best, celebrating a win that is based on emotion, and emotions dissipate. Systems remain. So that's what I say to leaders who are facing those challenging circumstances. Look at the quality of your systems. And I'm going to teach you a quick tool. When you're assessing the system, I do this. I call it MIC. M-I-C. I was taught this by a wise old sage decades ago. M, what shall we maintain in the system that is already present, or in the way that we are working, in this approach? What shall we maintain? You do this work with your teams. I, what shall we improve? It's okay, it's not broken, but it could be better. What do we improve? And then C is change. That part has to go. That part cannot stay. We're not going to improve it. We're not going to tweak it. We're going to change it altogether. When you MIC your systems, your organization, when you MIC your attitude or your approach, you are taking time and approaching that circumstance with an intellect. People can buy into a MIC because you're recognizing there is some value in the work we've been doing here. Let's keep that. But we recognize where we need to change. Let's do that. And then you get to it. And I won't use the word ruthless, but I can't think of another word, so I'll use that word ruthless. You are ruthless. If it has to change, it has to change. So if I say to a member of staff, the quality of your delivery is not high enough, I can train you and I can support you to move up to the expectation. If you don't reach it, if you don't meet it, then we have to plan an exit. Now, that's the hard part of leadership people don't want to hear. People want to be liked, want to be loved. I want to be liked, Amber. I want to be loved. But I understand that if I like and love mediocrity, I am undermining my own leadership. I'm undermining the vision, and I'm selling short the young people whose lives depend on us getting this right. So that's where my inner steel comes from, my inner courage comes from. I will not love mediocrity. You I love, but the output of your performance I don't love. That has to change. But we built a system that will support the change. Get on board with it, or find success elsewhere, as I've said to many people in the past.
Oh, I knew I liked your style. I agree with you 120% that mediocrity is a goal killer. We are too easily complacent, and there's no room for that when achieving what needs to be achieved in the greatness level of definitely what you're talking about, but within whatever goals one sets out for themselves or their business or their life. There's just no room for that. And you touched on so many things, the fear factor and the hurdles and the frustration. It's easy to look over at what you're accomplishing and have accomplished. And I think, a lot of our audience, we are touching mostly female audience and empowering and helping to motivate and inspire wherever they are in their journey or path. But I'm glad that you talk through the entire dynamics of from where you began to what it takes on the in-between. And it is all genuine and real and raw. And so that was something that I was going to ask you about, is what we see when we see such amazing successful women such as yourself. The first question comes to a lot of folks' mind: how does she do that? How does she get there? And as you've genuinely spoke about, you talked about it being a decade, or it was, the trials and tribulations, and you broke it down so perfectly and poetically in all of those, not emotions, but maybe emotions that we go through as we're going through that journey of accomplishing certain tasks and goals.
Yeah. I mean, people do say, how did you deal with the frustrations? How did you deal with imposter syndrome? All of those things, I had them. I dealt with them. I think here's the key. I back myself. And that's not boasting. I back myself. I think I'm actually quite good at what I do, and I have evidence to show that. Where I have flaws and faults and mistakes, and believe me, Amber, there's quite a few of those, I take time to fix them, but I believe in myself. And I have this saying, people say, don't blow your own trumpet. Well, that's ridiculous. Why would I blow someone else's trumpet? Who's going to come and blow my trumpet? Take your lips off my trumpet. That's my trumpet, and I'm going to blow it. So you have to back yourself. And women, we don't do that. We wait for other people to validate us. I'm married. I'm married to a fantastic guy. He's a bodybuilder. He's a good-looking fella. But if he doesn't say, honey, you look good this morning, I say it to myself. I back myself. Diana, you look fantastic in those trousers. He thinks I'm nuts, but I do. I talk to myself. I validate myself. Diana, you put on a little bit of weight, but you still look fabulous. If I'm waiting for him or society or my parents or anyone else to say, Diana, well done, Diana, you can do it, I'll be waiting forever. And that's what we do. We wait for validation. We wait till it's perfect. Then we say it's good. I don't wait. If it's 60% done, as far as I'm concerned, it's fantastic. And I back myself on that. And I'll push for the 80, 90, 100. But at 60%, I start celebrating. So I have a different outlook, but I have it now. It's been a long time. I mean, I'm 49 this year now, but I've been leading for a long time. And I've learned the hard way. I've cried. Oh, goodness me. Those first couple of years in headship, I'd come home and I would bawl on the living room floor. Absolutely. Because someone sent a bad email, or because the unions have risen up against me, or because something difficult is happening and the parents have complained, I would take it so personally. I would allow my emotions to dictate my feelings and my response. And emotions are a strength in our female leadership journey, only if you know how to use them. And I would allow my emotions to overtake my intellect, and that's never a good thing. And so I say to women, just assess all the things that you currently do. If you're a mother, if you're a wife, if you're a friend, if you're an auntie, you have so many roles already. Just assess how far you've come in the last 10 years. If you were to write down the good, the bad, and the ugly of your life of the last 10 years, you would fill 2 books. So you are already an overcomer. The fact that you're standing here, talking, listening, learning, you're already an overcomer. So walk in that. Validate yourself. And I said, what do we do? I have this podcast I do, this webinar is the 6 golden nuggets. But one of the nuggets I give to women all the time is this. Amber, for the next 1 week. So today is what? Thursday? No, it's Wednesday. Until next week, Wednesday, you are not allowed to criticize yourself, either with your mouth or with your mind. You're not allowed to say, oh, I could never work with numbers. Oh, I'm terrible at maths. Oh, I could never work with children. Criticizing your future. Oh, I've always been clumsy. I've always looked terrible with makeup on. I've always looked terrible without makeup on. Oh, I'm fat. Oh, I'm thin. I'm tall. I'm short. Criticizing your past, criticizing your present with your mind. Stop doing that. Give yourself a break. Leave yourself alone for 1 week. You could go back to criticizing yourself next week, Thursday. But for 1 week, just back yourself. Be your own best internal friend and stop the internal criticism of your own stance. When we get into that kind of habit, Amber, things change. You change the way you think about yourself, the way you feel, how you speak changes, and what you do begins to change. But if you don't back yourself, it doesn't make sense to ask other people to back you, to promote you, to listen to you, to be influenced by you, if you don't back your own stance. So that is how I got through the tough times. I backed myself. Goodness me, it's hard. I feel like crying. I'm going to cry for the next half an hour, then I'm going to get up. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do this. I back myself. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to put on my heels and my lipstick and my power suit, and I'm going to go to work. I'm 6 foot tall, Amber, so when I wear heels, it's a bit intimidating for other people. But I don't care. Why should I wear flat shoes? No, I'm going to put on my heels and I'm going to back myself. That's where confidence begins to arise. If I don't know it, fine. I admit it. And I used to have this saying, I haven't got a Scooby-Doo. Now, Scooby-Doo's that cartoon. But it's a rhyming slang in England. Scooby-Doo means I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a Scooby-Doo. I don't know. I was quite happy to tell staff I haven't got a Scooby-Doo. And they would say, she hasn't got a Scooby-Doo. We'll sort it out ourselves. If you don't know, you don't have to pretend. Just say, I don't know. I haven't got a clue. But you guys have. There's 15 of you on that team. Get to it. Bring me the solution. I back you. Go for it. That's how I did it. Was it easy? Oh, no. Was it possible? Absolutely.
So powerful. Giving yourself the permission across the board to respect yourself, to allow yourself to feel the situation at the time and press on. Very, very eloquently said and motivating. Did not know I was going to get this power talk this morning. Love it. Oh, that's fantastic. So in all of that, is there ever a time where you do maybe get stuck? And how do you get yourself unstuck? Again, backing yourself, you might have answered that, to giving yourself that permission to have the time out and then kick yourself in the rear and go for it.
I think the times when I get stuck is when I let love get in the way. We're going to go deep now, Amber. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Go for it.
So I'm married now to a phenomenal guy, as I told you. He's great. I was married to an absolute numpty before, right? And he was a right numpty. Let's just call it that, okay? I was married to him during my formative leadership years. So I had this narrative from him in my ears. It was a silent undercurrent of, you can't do it. Why are you pushing so hard? Why don't you just stop at this stage, and that kind of thing. Never quite said in that vocabulary, but that's what he was implying year after year. And then we went through a nasty divorce. I mean, it was up there on the scale. Horrible, horrible divorce. So we were married in front of 700 people, divorced by post. I mean, it was really, really bad. During that divorce was when I was in the middle of my deputy headship. And it was tough because my heart was shattered and I hadn't yet learnt how to separate my heart from my efficiency, from being a good leader. And I think men are better at this. My current husband, I've observed, he's much better at this. He can compartmentalize really well. He puts things into emotional boxes. So if his football team loses, and his football team is his life, honestly, I'm just here. It's Liverpool that's in his life. He put the Liverpool loss into a box. It will not affect his work. It doesn't affect his marriage. If we're having an argument, that's in the marriage book. It doesn't affect his work. He's very good at that. I was not very good at that. When I was going through divorce, that affected everything. Everything. It affected how I felt about myself, how I dressed, whether I put on makeup or not, how I spoke. I mean, I allowed it to have its tentacles into every single aspect of my being. That was a mistake. I hadn't learned how to compartmentalize. And learning how to compartmentalize allowed me to become a better leader. But it took me about 7 years to learn that. It took me a while to understand how to not crumble entirely when one part of your life has crumbled. So that was the thing that hindered me, allowing that pillar which fell to then knock over every single pillar in my life. Then I put on weight. Through putting on weight, I became unwell. I didn't stop looking after myself. I wasn't looking my best, Amber. Let's just say the fabulous, decreased a little bit during that time. I wasn't functioning as Diana. I was functioning as a shadow of Diana because I allowed one part of my life to dominate how effective I was in the rest of my life. And I've learned that lesson now. Feel deeply, of course. I don't minimize what I went through or what people go through. Feel deeply, but understand that not everything is going wrong because the marriage has failed, or because the child is sick, or because your parent has said this to you or that to you. We have to learn to compartmentalize better. And that way, you get through the difficult times more intact.
Wow. You are so on point with that. And how did you learn to do that over the 7 years? Was it self-study? Was it a self-awareness of in the moment when something was starting to change or shift or challenge you in that? Would you snap your fingers and say, wake up, Diana?
There was a lot of that. There was a lot of talk to myself. Okay, I used to say this, I'm going to feel this way for one more week, and then that's over. I'm going to allow this to affect me just for this amount of time. Then it's over. And I would count down emotionally. I'd cry my heart out. And I'd sob. It was difficult, but I'd say, this is for a season, and seasons must change. It's winter. I acknowledge this is a winter season in my life. Spring has to come. And so I am looking for the signs of spring. So if it meant that one day I didn't cry that day, that was a sign of spring. If it meant that one day I was able to do something different, it was a sign of spring. If you wait till it's all perfect, you'll be waiting all day. You've got to look for the signs of spring and embrace them. So celebrate early. I say this to my teams. Listen, when you're playing football, soccer, as you call it in the States, when someone scores a goal or scores a touchdown, the whole crowd cheer, go crazy, go wild every single time a touchdown occurs, a goal is scored. You don't wait until the end of the match to cheer. So if they scored in minute 5, you don't wait to minute 90 to cheer. You celebrate each goal, each touchdown as they occur. So celebrate every time something good happens, even if that just means saying to yourself, well done, you did it. Well done. Don't wait till it's perfect. Don't wait till it looks like someone else is going to say well done to you. You've already said it to yourself. Celebrating each little goal as they went in got me through those difficult times. If it meant that, I went to the gym once this week, celebrate, right? I was supposed to go 3 times, but I've been once. I'm going to celebrate that goal.
Yes, you are. Good for you. Oh, that's amazing. As that momentum builds, celebrate those mini successes. Celebrate yourself. Give yourself that pat on the back and subtle encouragement to keep pressing forward, because when we show up, good things will happen. When you put in the hard work, it will pay off. Not today, not tomorrow, but as you said, the probable, it will happen.
It will happen.
Diana, talk to us a little bit about your Academy of Women's Leadership.
This is so special. In England right now, we are on lockdown 3, in the middle of the pandemic, right? So I founded the academy during lockdown 2, okay, because I'm at home, I've got nothing to do. My diary is decimated because everybody has cancelled all the keynote speeches, all the things I do. And literally, I was coaching some female senior leaders, and I'm coaching one, and then another one, and another one. I'm like, we're saying the same thing here. I'm saying the same thing over and over again. They're struggling with the same issues. How do you bring this together? I then just got in touch with a few of my other female leader friends. I said, listen, back me on this, right? You know what I back myself? Back me on this. Let us put together a curriculum that we write, written by successful women for other successful women. Let us write the curriculum that tells women, that educates them on the things you need to know to be a leader that thrives at the table of leadership. There are 3 things that women struggle with. Internal crippling fear. They're doing leadership work. They're there. They're at the table. But inside, they feel like they can't do it. They're not good enough. Imposter syndrome's having its day. They might be working in a toxic culture. One minute the culture's good because we've made money or because things have gone well. Next minute the culture's terrible. And that affects how you feel. That affects how you work. Or they might just be having a challenging leadership experience. It's just uphill. It's difficult. Let's build an academy, I said to these women, that challenges the narrative that you're surviving leadership and you're not thriving. You do leadership during the week and you live your life at the weekend. And you go back to doing leadership again. Let's change that. So we built this academy, wrote the curriculum. I mean, some of the modules, here's the first module is called womanhood. We deal with menstruation, miscarriage, menopause, how to deal with those guilt feelings when you've got little ones at home and you've got another late night meeting. The things that women have to take to work with them and still be an effective leader. Show me the man that has had to go back to work on Monday having had a miscarriage the week before. There's no man in the world who will ever go to work experiencing that. But in our module of womanhood, we deal with that module. How do you go back to work as an effective leader on the Monday, having miscarried on the Friday before the weekend? How do you do that? We teach that. That's the foundation module. How do you manage up? Your boss is a right muppet, but they're your boss. How do you manage up? What do you actually do? We give the practicalities because we've done it. 20 years I've been doing it. Others have been doing it 30 years, 15 years. Between us, and I call us the veterans of leadership, the female veterans, between us, we have 360 years of successful female leadership. So we step into your life as 13 big sisters. I mean, things start to change from day one. So it's literally a commitment of 1 Saturday a month for 90 minutes. That's it. No homework, no pre-work, no reading unless you want to. But give us 90 minutes once a month and we will change your leadership journey forever. We will teach you the things that you need to know, but nobody tells you. You can't get this by Googling it. You don't get this on your MA or any other exam. This is the stuff of life, but it's written by women who know, for women who need to know. It's one of the best things I've ever done. We take only 100 women a year, 50 in October, 50 in February, because we give them coaching, life lessons. I mean, we have a stylist and she does more than hair and makeup, but she helps you to style your leadership image so you really show up and you look like you back yourself. The curriculum is taught, the books that we give, it's a whole package for any woman across the world because it's totally online. But when we are live in the webinars, oh my word, it's a leadership party. It's the best thing I've done. I love the Academy. I think you probably could hear the passion in my voice for it. I absolutely love it.
Wow. Yes. Excellent. You talked a second ago too about, reading and books. So with that, it's a perfect segue into your new book, which I'm excited and looking forward to reading, Courageous Leadership. So what was the inspiration behind writing that book?
That is an account, a humorous account of my time as a leader and as a head teacher of a school. Some of the things that happened to me were so ridiculous. Right? You've got to write this down because people won't believe you. I mean, some of the stories in that book, you think, really? Yep, really, it happened. So it's an account of that, but also to show people, listen, there are things I got wrong. There are things I got so badly wrong. If you read this book, you at least know what not to do if you don't get anything else from the book, right? But also it shows you, listen, if you just have a little bit of courage, anything is possible. So I wrote the book for men, for women, but for people who are in leadership. And it's based on 7 statements. But one of the key ones is this: I will always feel fear. Always I'll feel fear, but I limit the influence fear has on my speech, on my thoughts, and on my actions. I am a human first and a leader second. I remember the importance of family, love, grace, and compassion. So it's a book that empowers you. It will make you laugh. Some bits are quite sad. It will make you cry. I mean, it tells the story, but it gives you a roadmap. So if you're in a leadership position and you're having challenge, read it. It will give you a way to say, okay, I know how to get out of that. Okay, I recognize that. Or, okay, I will look out for that in my leadership journey. So it's a quick read. It's about a 48-minute read because I don't write long books, Amber. I don't like reading long books. I don't write long books. But it's just, I call it as an hour to quash the tummy flies in your butter. And you have to read the book to understand what I mean by tummy flies.
Well, you have me intrigued without a doubt, even more than I was before. Oh, I'm excited to get that. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, so it's available across the world. Absolutely.
Excellent. Great. Well, I want you to share that here in a second. So, Diana, it has been an absolute thrill and true joy visiting with you. So, as we wrap up our visit and in keeping the promise to share intentional inspiration with our audience, what would one piece of key go-to advice be to share with our audience?
I think it'll be the one about the fear, because fear is valid. It has its place in our lives, but we give it too much power and far too much influence. The fear of getting it wrong, the fear of looking silly, the fear of being embarrassed. Nobody died because they were embarrassed. So I would say that thing, limit the influence fear has in your life. Limit what you allow fear to do to you. Limit how it makes you speak or not speak, how it makes you do or not do. Don't give fear power. Fear is fear. Let it stay in its own box. Don't add power to fear because then it will cripple you. And when women are flourishing, flying, we change the world. That sounds like a big statement, but look at it, it's true. You in your place, Amber, you're changing the world right where you are in your lane. I'm doing it in my lane. Every woman in her lane across the world, when she rises up out of fear into power, we make things happen. People look back and say, how did that happen? A woman stood up and said, I back myself.
Amen.
Amen.
So amazing. So amazing. Diana, where can our audience go to find and connect with you, perhaps on your socials, as you continue
Yes,
to back all of
absolutely.
us? We want to back you in your continued success.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. So I am very active on LinkedIn. Just type in Diana Osagie. I think there's only one, it's just me. I'm also on Twitter, Diana_Osagie, Osagie. You can come to the website, it's got the two companies, the Academy of Women's Leadership, AWL Online, or Courageous Leadership as well. So many places we get together. And you know what? Connect with me. Let's talk. Let's enjoy. I've got a lot to give you, I promise. So yeah, get in touch. Absolutely.
Perfect. And I will make sure that we have all of those links in the information and content resources of the podcast. And you have uplifted me beyond measure right now. Can't put it into words as we're respecting the time that we've allotted for you. Let you about your day. But thank you so very much, Diana, once again, for sharing your silhouette of success with us. You are making our world a brighter, better place.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, my lady. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Silhouettes of Success podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out and join us for all the new episodes. We are here for you and with you. We encourage you to share this podcast on all your socials and pass on the light to help illuminate another silhouette of success. Amber would love to hear from you, and you can find her on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or head over to amberweitzer.com. Let's connect. Help us all shine and leave us a review too. To find out the latest ways to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, and gain actionable insights, subscribe at amberweitzer.com. We are honored, humbled, and full of joy that you've tuned in. Remember, you are exactly where you need to be, right here with us. This is the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success.